You are sitting somewhere comfortable right now, maybe in a soft chair or tucked into a bed, and the air around you is still. Perhaps you hear the gentle hum of the world outside, a distant siren, a neighbor's television, or maybe just the shush of the air conditioning. Everything seems settled, solid, and utterly predictable. But I want you to shift your focus away from the visible world, away from the ceiling and the walls. I want you to let your mind drift down. You are currently resting on a thin, fragile crust of human invention, and beneath that crust lies a staggering, complex world that makes your modern life possible. It's a secret, subterranean city of forgotten pipes, tunnels, cables, and brickwork that stretches back not just decades but millennia. Think about the street just outside your window. When you look at it, you see pavement, maybe a manhole cover, a storm drain. That's it. But what you are really seeing is the roof of a vast, quiet machine. You wander down there in your imagination, slipping past the concrete and the packed earth. You are standing in the soft, damp dark, and the air smells like wet soil and old metal. What you find is not chaos, but a meticulously planned labyrinth. There are thick, coiled arteries of fiber optic cable carrying the very words you are reading right now, transmitting the entire, chaotic noise of the internet. There are massive iron pipes silently shuttling clean, filtered water from a distant reservoir to your kitchen tap, and then there are the other pipes, the ones that carry away everything you don't want, making civilization livable. This underground world is the true, boring, unsung hero of history. Kings built castles, sure, but the engineers who built the ditches and the aqueducts saved more lives than any doctor of the age. And in the soft dark tonight, we are going to explore this quiet, functional history. We'll meet the Roman plumbers, the medieval muckrakers, the Victorian visionaries, and the forgotten workers who built the literal foundation of every city you have ever known. It's a long journey into the dark, and you are currently lying right on top of it. You probably won't survive this, by the way. Not because it's dangerous, but because the slow, detailed, methodical history of infrastructure is the ultimate sleep aid. We are talking about pressure gradients, soil composition, and brick dimensions. You've been warned. So, before you get comfortable, take a moment to like the video and subscribe, but only if you genuinely enjoy what I do here. And please, tell me where you are right now and what time it is. Comment your location and local time so we can see how far this slow, underground journey reaches across the world. Now, dim the lights, maybe turn on a fan for that soft background hum, and let's ease into tonight's journey together. You trace the curve of a thick, damp brick wall with your hand as you move deeper. You realize that every major civilization, every time humans decided to stop wandering and settle down, they faced the same two immediate, enormous problems. Where do we get the clean water, and where does everything else go? The very first rudimentary infrastructure was just a ditch, maybe lined with stones, designed to channel rainwater away from a dwelling. Simple, functional, but as villages grew into towns, and towns into sprawling cities, those ditches had to get deeper, covered, and ultimately connected into networks. This wasn't about convenience, it was about survival. Think of the Neolithic settlements in the Fertile Crescent. When you settle thousands of people in one tight space, you instantly create a massive, concentrated waste problem. A single summer storm could turn a vibrant marketplace into a deadly pool of contaminated runoff. The engineers of early civilizations, though we rarely call them that, were dealing with public health crises centuries before anyone understood germ theory. Their solution was purely pragmatic: get the dirty water out, and keep the clean water separate. This separation of clean and foul is the single mainstream historical fact that defines modern city living. Every time you flush a toilet or turn on a tap, you are benefiting from a lesson learned through thousands of years of cholera outbreaks and plague scares. The real shift came when infrastructure went from being reactive, fixing a problem, to proactive, planning for the future. And nowhere was this more apparent than in the next great civilization we will explore, the Romans. But even before Rome, there was a deeply odd and quirky detail from the Minoans on the island of Crete. These Bronze Age people, thousands of years ago, had a form of flushing toilet and complex terracotta piping under their palace at Knossos. Why is that quirky? Because that level of plumbing sophistication wouldn't be seen again in much of Europe until the Victorian era, a gap of nearly 3,000 years. The knowledge of advanced sanitation simply vanished for an extraordinarily long time. Scholars still argue whether the Minoan plumbing was truly understood as a health measure or simply an expression of extreme luxury for the elite. Was it engineering for sanitation or engineering for comfort and status? It's a debate we still have today when we look at infrastructure spending. But now, as you walk down this dark, cold tunnel, Let's leave the Bronze Age and start moving toward the colossal, echoing arches of Rome, where they solved the problem of waste management and water supply on a scale that baffled subsequent generations. You can almost hear the slow, steady drip of water somewhere ahead, promising the monumental structure of the Cloaca Maxima, Rome's greatest sewer. That's where we head next, deeper into the historical earth.